Hey, how's it going, everybody? Let's find out what Mr. Lost in the Pond would really miss if he was to leave America. Now, apparently, I thought that he was actually leaving America, but I guess that's not the case. Those are just things that he would be missing if he was to leave the US. And he says he's been living there for 15 years, and he moved there from the UK. And I mean, yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious. I mean, I've been living here for a few years now, and I'm curious if I would agree with some of these things that he says. Let's find out.
What a day to do this on. 15 years after moving to America. Today, I'm going to do something that I just never thought would happen. You tell yourself, ooh, this'll last forever, but that's never the case in life. And today, I'm sitting in my car getting set to make a video in which I make you think that I'm leaving the United States to go home for Britain in order to generate clicks and hoping that once you
What a
have
jokester, am I right? Such clickbait.
you stick around, because even though I'm not leaving the United States, there could come a time when I do. And when that happens, 10, 15, 20 years from now, there are hundreds of things that I would completely and utterly a little bit miss about it. And because nobody
still
wants
don't
to
know
sit
where
through
he
a
lives
7-hour
in the
video,
US.
I thought I'd just pare it down to 11. And so, amid this appropriately British weather, here are some of the things that I'm going to miss about the United States. I've got the Kleenexes ready.
Let's go. Trees?
I'm going to miss trees, which makes it sound like we don't have trees in the United Kingdom, which is blatantly a lie. We just don't have trees that are as big. Sometimes
that's true.
trees go so
Oh,
high,
man.
like the redwoods that I saw out in California, that they might as well have an elevator attached to them.
Dude,
In
I don't
fact,
know. I don't know what park I went to, but I went to this really nice park that was near San Francisco when I first visited the US. That one was really, really nice and super impressive. I mean, some of these trees are they're so, I don't know, the diameter of the tree was so big that over time, I think they were, I don't know if the tree was kind of rotting from the inside or people were carving out, but you could literally stand inside the tree. Like there was a little opening where you could go in and be fully inside the tree. It was weird.
some of those trees out west have such bloody thick trunks you could fit 2 elevators in there and a stairwell. Of course,
look
in
at that.
reality, this would be a terrible idea just because squirrels would chew through the cables. But
Wildlife.
despite encountering the occasional pest, I'm really going to miss American wildlife. I don't know what it is, but in the last few years I've just become very, very fascinated by animals. I do know what it is. I'm in my 40s now. And because of where I live, a lot of them just happen to be North American species. And when it comes to the broad range of American wildlife, I feel like I've only just scratched the surface. A bit like my dog.
Well, and it also really depends, what state you're in. I mean, every single state is known to have different kind of wildlife. I mean, every state kind of shares a few, but there are certain. I mean, there's spiders is a big thing. Every state has different kinds of spiders that are deadly, and but also just like, for example, coyotes. Like that's a thing that happened. Those are in quite a few states, and like. I remember when I was living in West Virginia, there were a lot of box turtles. I found a lot of those. That was pretty cool. Yeah, man, but you wouldn't find those in California typically.
Figured that I should include something about Chicago.
I mean, maybe.
Since I've predominantly lived here, and I thought, what
Oh,
could that
Chicago.
be? Maybe
Okay,
the
so
silly
she's from
little
there.
bean,
He is from there.
which I've been to around about 7 times, or maybe something that I used to use every single day, the Lakeshore Trail. Because when I used to work downtown, I would put on this helmet, get on my bike, and hit that cycle path like I was a psychopath. To be clear, I didn't do any property damage. But I did ride it. 7 miles there, 7
I like
miles
how-
back, with Lake Michigan always at my side, unless I was in Lake Michigan. That was roughly when I stopped using the trail.
Huh. I like how his helmet said nutcase.
Matt, yeah, I'm filming a video. What am I going to do without American diners? No, it's hypothetical. If I move back to England, what am I going to do without American diners?
Yeah, I agree.
Because I know that they have American-style diners in the UK, but they're not the same. It's like when here they make authentic British-style pubs, And the reason that they're authentic is that they have 12 pictures of Queen Elizabeth in them. That's not something we do in Britain, and in America we don't have pictures of Al Capone scattered all over the place. So I think it will be sad, and I love American diners. I love them more than I love my
You
own.
know,
Not my wife. I wasn't going to say that, but more than I love my own cat. He's in the house, he won't know about that. Every weekend, my wife and I make a habit of going to a diner. And it's usually one of those local types, Frank's Diner or Catherine's Cafe. And there's just something really great and lovely and welcoming about the ambience of those places. And you can't replicate it in England. I mean, of course, we have tea shops, things like that.
yeah, I gotta say that's definitely true. I mean, the whole diner culture here in the U.S. is massive, and that really exists in every single state. Um, I wasn't really surprised because I'd already known a lot about it before I eventually moved over here, but it is. I don't think the average American actually understands just how often the average American goes to a diner, goes to a restaurant. I know these things are expensive, and obviously not everyone can afford them. I mean, I certainly can't afford them. I certainly can't afford to go to a restaurant every single day. That's not possible. And I only really go every other week, maybe, to an actual sit-down restaurant, I'd say. But when I was growing up in Germany, going to a diner or a restaurant was something that was, I mean, really special. That wasn't something that you just did every single week. That was not a thing. Honestly, like I think I went to a restaurant or diner, anything like that, or a cafe, like where you actually got a proper meal. Because yeah, I only went to those maybe every other month, and I'm not even kidding here, unless there was a specific occasions or friends were in town or family from far away. Only every other month. So living here now in the U.S. and the people that I'm with, and the people that I know and have gotten to know, they want to go almost. I mean, they're fine with going every other day, which is just crazy to me because A, it's obviously very expensive, but also B, it's just, I don't know, it almost takes the fun out of it for me a little bit, because if I go to a restaurant every single day, then it's not going to be as special than if I just go every 2 to 3 weeks, maybe.
But this is different. It's something it's almost entirely American, and it's so difficult to describe. I think some of that is down to the food you get. I mean, hash browns, for example. American hash browns are very American and hashy.
Yeah, they taste
and,
great.
and brown. I love them. I love diners. I live for them. The conversation that happens, it makes you feel like you're in an American film set in a diner, such as
Yeah, in like the
Diner
1950s.
from the early 80s.
Oh,
And
yes.
I don't know what it is. I will always, always love US diners. And are you still there? Yeah. No, I am. I'm choking up. I'm just thinking about the fact that they could one day be gone. I mean, in some respects, they are gone. The American diners are part of a bygone era in this country. They used to be far more numerous and far more part of the American experience. But they are still here. And I think that's important. I think that they need to stay as part of the American experience. Otherwise, the American experience is no experience at all. Yes, I would like a refill on my coffee. Thank you. I talk about this one a lot
Yeah,
on
I
my
agree.
channel, so
I
I won't
agree.
dwell on it. But I love food. Who doesn't? Dead people. But American food is often very interesting because they seem to take ideas from other country and then just create their own magnificent dish. Right? You see this in pizza, for example, or Tex-Mex. And I think I'll really miss being able to get my Detroit style or
I
a
gotta say
burrito.
that can
Or
you consider this a
Tex-Mex.
quesadilla? That was a weird quesadilla, if it was one. Dude, I make a quesadilla pretty often, and I think I'm pretty good at it at this point. I don't know if you guys like quesadillas, but ooh, you know what I put in my quesadilla? I I use two big tortillas, and obviously I'm not gonna go in through every single step and how I make it, but I use some Fiesta blend cheese or whatever from Walmart, or from Aldi's. That's one too. And you can believe it or not, but you can actually use salami or pepperoni, the stuff that you put on pizza, um, and use that as the meat. And also sometimes I use pre-cooked, what's it called, like pre-cooked. You can buy pre-cooked bacon, and I cut those up, and then I put those in as well. And then for the sauce, because I make my sauce, I like ranch a lot, so I use ranch and I mix it with sriracha. You guys should try it. It's really good. But yeah, the food. I mean, you can. There, maybe you can't find every single thing in let's say a big city, but you can find pretty much every single dish in some area of the U.S.
And I think I'll really miss being able to get my Detroit style, or a burrito from Chipotle, or a Baconator from Wendy's. It's making me hungry just thinking about it.
I like
It's
those,
true.
but I don't think
will
about it
miss
like
American
that.
English. What? Oh, right. I will miss American English. And you might think that's no surprise, Lawrence. You talk about it in all of your shorts. Yes, I do. But I also use it in my everyday life. Whether I'm taking out the trash, or kicking a soccer ball, or using the US date format. Which still, after all these years, doesn't come naturally. But on the other hand, I think if I were to move back to England, I would struggle at first to use the British English equivalents. And my English cousins and their cousins will think that I'm purposely overdoing it on the Americanisms in order to look cool. There really is no winning when you've lived in two countries for more than a decade. When
Yeah,
it
I
comes
like
down to
American English. Growing up, my English was not good. Uh, I mean, the level I'm at right now. I don't think I even started learning English until really started learning English until I was maybe 11 or 12. That was probably after, yeah, around the time when I first visited the U.S. Before that, in Germany, I don't know if you knew this, but you only really learn British English. Like all the textbooks are directed towards British English. All the characters are British English. All the listening comprehensions that you make are all British English. My teachers, this was something that I actually hated about school. My teachers would um, mark me down or take a point off whatever if I used American uh, the American way of writing stuff. So, for example, I always take the example color. Like in the U.S., I think you spell it Color, but in British English, I think it's Colour. But to me, American English has always been more like the default English, definitely more than British English. Um, yeah, yeah,
to it, I think I would severely miss American road trips. And that is because I am at heart an adventurer. I am somebody who wants to see the entire world without leaving America. And you can do that more or less, because we have every terrain under the sun. And so I love it whenever I get the chance to wake up and hop into an RV and hit the open road. I don't have an RV. We've never had an RV. I've never even been into an RV, but the dream is real. But for now, my wife and I are more than happy to just do it in a Prius. I'm still talking about road trips.
Oh, that's what
And
he's
we've
sitting
seen a
in.
lot. We've seen the entirety of Route 66, at least the Illinois portion of it. So not really the entirety of it, but some of it. And I had a great time. We saw a lot of very kitschy things. We drove up to a
What is that?
20-foot high spaceman. What more could you want? Except for incredible terrain, which America offers in abundance. I mean, you could be driving just east of the Mississippi, right, through Indiana. It's all cornfields and soy. But then you get out of there to Ohio, and that's all cornfields and soy, until you start getting toward Pennsylvania. And once you enter Pennsylvania, you start to realize, oh, look at this. There's a big mountain range approaching, or we're approaching it. And it's insane how this just comes upon you out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
that's
And then
true.
you're lost
It
in
just
it
comes out
for
of nowhere.
miles and hundreds of miles until you get to Philadelphia, and then it's just skyscrapers.
Does anyone know why he actually moved to, or why he's living in Chicago? I think in the other video that we reacted to, he was talking about living in a few different states, but I wonder what made him first move over here, and what the first location was that he was living in. What was the first, where did he first move to?
Yeah. That's not the entirety of my road tripping experience. It's just one example, because if you were to take a car from Chicago and head west, not only would you cross the Mississippi River, but you would also then go across the Great Plains for hundreds of miles and see lots of farms for a while, and then get to the Rocky Mountains and probably not have a way to get through. But it'd be thrilling anyway, because you could just get out of the car, jump on a horse that magically appears, ride off into the mountains as if you're in a film, and then end up in Los Angeles and audition for a film. You know, not on horseback. I can imagine that'd be quite challenging. I might miss American accents, which might sound weird to some people, but you know, when I was at university and I was surrounded mostly by fellow English students, when the odd, usually very odd, American student would turn up and they'd have an American accent, they'd stand out, right? And it'd be something that I'd have my ears pinned to. Ooh, what are they going to say next about us? I was never suspicious of Americans. I was more fascinated because you didn't typically hear American accents in my part of the world. And so now that I've been living around them for the past 15 years and encountering many different accents from across the entire country, it's become a kind of a comforting thing in my life, because I play a little game in my head and it's, can I guess which part of America that person is from the way they speak?
Yeah, that's
Just the
true.
other day I was listening
That's
to somebody online who had a vaguely southern accent, and they were talking about their Instagram account, and they were saying things like, I think my numbers have dropped a little bit over the last 2 years, and in my head I'm thinking, ooh, yeah, you're from Alabama, probably. And I looked them up, and guess what?
I don't think
They
so.
were from Texas.
Yeah.
Just goes to show how little
No, I don't
I've
think from
actually
Alabama.
observed. But I do like hearing y'all's accents on a daily basis. Can you believe it?
Yeah, it's really funny how every single state here has how people from different states have different accents. It's hilarious to me because, I mean, obviously there's different dialects in Germany. You know, like there's the east and then the south, and I think honestly the rest is kind of the same. Like the west and the central Germany and north, they kind of all sound the same in my opinion. I don't think they don't really. Yeah, I don't. I think only really the east and the eastern part and the southern part of Germany sounds different. But I mean, those are only like three different parts. You know, here in the U.S. we got 50 states, so and people sound different in almost every single state. It's funny to me because I'm a foreigner and I live here. To me, people from, if someone asked me, hey, what do you think is like to you would be the default, default accent? What sounds the most normal to you? Honestly, like anything from the West Coast. Like when I was living in California, I never had a problem understanding people. I mean, even now, I don't really have a problem understanding people. But to me, that those sounded almost almost the most American. But like in West Virginia, for example, dude, half the time I couldn't understand a word. And here in Alabama, I mean, I was actually pleasantly surprised that maybe because I've been living here for a while now, but I was pleasantly surprised at how much I understand people. Every now and then I'll come across someone whose accent is so strong and so thick, and I always want to say like, hey, you're not even trying to make me understand here. Like if I asked them, if I was like, what was that? Yeah, and they repeat the same thing again in the same accent. I mean, it's almost a little annoying sometimes. You're like, okay, clearly you must understand that I'm not from here and that I do not understand what you're saying, but people will repeat the same thing in their accent over and over again and then expect you to eventually understand. It's like, man, I don't even know how to spell what you just said.
I will never again get to step foot inside an American park. And you might think, ooh, Lawrence, that's fine. Britain has some sensational green spaces, and it's true, it does. There's no denying that. But I have lived here for 15 years. That's almost a sixth of a century, and I've still never been to Yellowstone. I've still never been to the Grand Teton.
Ooh, that's how it looks.
And I've still never been to...
Damn. I gotta visit that, and I definitely have to record a video about it too.
Yellowstone. I've still never been to the Grand...
I don't know what's up with my camera, or my webcam, but for some reason it has a hard time focusing lately.
Tetons. I've still never been to Yosemite. And this is something that's going to leave a hole in my stomach. Yeah, that's probably the hunger, actually. I need to run back in soon and get food. But I want to see all that. You know, and you can't do it in a day. You can't even do it in 15 years. I mean, these places are monumental. They are on a level the size of which you just do not see in the UK. I've said this before, in a short. America has 2 national parks that are larger than Wales. Now, I would give anything to spend 3 months and just go hiking in one of those places. You know, maybe actually get an RV, because that's a lot of walking, and make videos about it. Instead, those videos are going to come from the much smaller but no less magnificent Snowdonia National Park, ironically in Wales. I really hope you didn't skip the intro to this video. But the US not only has the biggest national park system, it has the oldest national park system. You know, we always hear, ooh, America doesn't have a history. Well, when it comes to national parks, it does. And they remind you of that when you go to visit them and you interact with the ranger, which is a real thing. You know, and they tell you things like, oh, this is where Teddy Roosevelt got off a horse, or this is the spot where some teenagers stole some bison a few years ago. Don't do that. It's very bad. And never mind the national parks, I'm going to miss the dog park where I take Arthur. I'm going to miss Arthur. Can he even come with me? So please look after your parks, America, and turn it off. Turn the camera off.
Sunset.
I suppose if the sun does set on my time in America, one thing that I'll greatly miss is American sunsets. Is that really the transition? Just because 2 of the greatest sunsets that I've ever seen in my entire life both occurred right here in the United States of America. One of them off the coast of San Francisco in 2018, and the other right here in the Midwest frequently. And actually I saw a particularly nice one when I buggered off to the beach the other day during the stupid heat wave. And with the lake facing east as opposed to west, which is where the Pacific was in San Francisco, there was something quite scintillating about watching this huge star in our solar system create an enormously beautiful hue behind the beach, even if it was ruined by people. Some might say improved because of the silhouette. Either way, sunsets on this level don't really occur in England.
No,
usually you get
they really
very
don't.
nice.
They really don't. Not even in Germany, they don't either. Honestly, the average sunset here in the U.S., especially in certain parts, especially if you're a little higher up, you know, it's just mesmerizing, honestly. And I can't even imagine how it would look if you're in a place like, you know, like the desert, for example, where it's just big open space, you know. That's part of the reason why I want to go to like Nevada and Arizona and those areas. I think you probably see it in New Mexico too, right? Just big open spaces and just watch the, you know, maybe watch the sun go down or watch the sunrise. You know, it's just, that would be cool. That would be really cool.
This one, but just not as nice.
And also,
as...
like, he keeps saying Midwest. Is Chicago really? I mean, I know it's in Illinois, right? Is it really considered the Midwest still? I thought the Midwest was other parts, but I mean, I guess what else would you call it, right? Can't really call it like Northern U.S.
These, I'll miss them a lot. And finally, my American friends and family, and I think this is the bit where the producers wanted me to get emotional, but the parks did me in, man. So, and I don't like people, so that's unlikely to occur, but I do like some people, and those are usually my friends and some of my family.
It's school bus.
Yellow school bus. And with those, you can't really take them with you. This is something I discovered leaving England for America. Those friends and those family members, they have to stay over there. And then it's up to you and your access to Skype as to whether you connect with them on a frequent basis. And so far, I've done a pretty lousy job of doing that with my English people. So I imagine in reverse, I would do the same with Americans and I'd forget all about them. Ooh, boo-hoo! You know, I've just realised a lot of them watch this channel. So I'm not referring to you. If you watch my channel, that means you love me and you will stay in my phone book. But I think, all joking aside, Americans have generally been some of the most welcoming, nice and beautiful people that I've ever met. Americans, we Americans, like everyone, are just going about our lives and basically just trying to keep out of trouble. So well done to us. We are good people. There are some bad people here too. I mean, that's no different to Britain. And so with all of that being said, I suppose it's a good job that I'm staying. I'm Lawrence Brown. You can follow me on Twitter and or Threads. And
yeah, let's go back here. Yeah, definitely go check out his video, guys. And make sure to visit him on Threads. I'm not even on Threads, but Lost in the Pond. Yeah, definitely go check out his channel, guys. Honestly, I agree. I don't think there was a single thing that I could disagree with. I mean, he's lived here way longer than I have, so he's been to a lot more places and has a lot more experiences than me and the things that he mentioned. But yeah, I mean, even just having lived here for a few years, I can definitely agree. This place is special, and I don't think many people realize just how special it is. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if there's anything else that you want me to react to, and yep, I hope you guys have a good day. See you soon. Bye.